It's a Dota Weekly Show.
Yay!
Hey guys, today's January 16th, 2012. I'm Luminous, your host for the Dota Weekly, Bi-Weekly, Tri-Weekly Show, whatever the show is called now. I'm the host of that. We've been missing this show for a while, I hope, and now we're back, so we have a lot of stuff to cover. So let's jump into the news. Now, sometimes last year, and we're talking about 2011 here, the two big players for MYM, Mania Maelk, they had a rumor that they're splitting up. I think Mania put it on his Facebook page about that. And now we're seeing the effects of it this week as we had Mania joining SK and replacing Calculus for that lineup. So Mania, the all-time kind of carry player, will be replacing that. And they are going to be looking pretty strong. They already have a very strong roster, and now adding a very, very big name player such as Mania will make that roster stronger, of course. So Mania goes to SK. Maelk will be joining Lacoste as they both go to EG. Now EG, kind of the American team, has become less and less American as Pycat will be leaving the team and playing for XP. More on them later. And now it's very unconfirmed at the moment. There's no official statement from anyone just yet. But EG currently has a 6-man roster, and it's uncertain whether they're going to have a 6-man roster, or rumor has it that Demon will be leaving the team. Now this is sort of confirmed from EG Fear, which is the captain of EG, on his stream. I believe he was streaming once and be like, oh yeah, Maelk and Lacoste will be joining us. And again, that still does not answer what are they going to do with their 6-man roster. So kind of this is strange because I've been growing up and watching, MYM, the old MYM with, Maelk, Mania, Slasher, if you guys remember. That's an event, that's a long time ago. But now kind of these are pitted against each other as rivals and enemies. Now both SK and the EG team is going to be competing in defense, and they are also competing in the Premier League. So we're going to see them go head-to-head in some of these occasions, and that will be very, very fun to watch. Now, for the Premier League, we have Kuroki's 10th. They are being kicked out, or, well, kicked out is a very strong word, but they're being replaced by Experience or XP, and that's Loda's team. And this is also school Loda team. Old school in the sense we're talking about 2008 kind of Dota old school. Back in the old golden days of SK, we had Loda, Aki, Miracle. That's the current roster here for the new XP team. And also we have Pycat, like mentioned earlier. I had the chance to cast their game for the Premier League, and also I had a chance to do a short interview with Loda. More links on the description if you want to check out the interview or the VODs of those games. And it was really fun to watch. They had a very fun strategy, and Loda seems like a really cool guy to talk to. So do check those links out if you're interested. And speaking of MYM, jumping back here, not the old Denmark MYM, the newer Malaysian MYM has been disbanded, or they had a kind of a funky roster. Yamate, of course, no longer plays with them. He's now playing in the orange. But now we have a newer MYM lineup, which is going to be MUFC plus HYHY. So the current MYM roster is going to be HYHY plus all the MUFC guys minus KYXY, which is the solo mid player for the old MUFC. So we have kind of the newer MYM, and they also are competing in both the defense and the Premier League. So we're going to have a chance to see them playing. Of course, we have bots on the Premier League page. You can check them out on thecomseries.com, or just look in the description box if you want to see how they're faring. Actually, pretty decent play so far. They were being able to beat out a couple of Chinese teams. Moderate performance overall. So that's pretty much it for all the news. No, there's one more news. We have another big tournament coming up that is called a Dota 2 Brawl. It's already being played, and I think the qualifier stage are currently ongoing. More information on that on the description box if you want to look into it. So we have kind of really big tournaments coming up. Infuse has a tournament that I will be casting alongside with Toby1. That's going to happen on the 28th. So we have a lot of big tournaments already ongoing and also coming as well. And guess what? We're still in beta. A lot of Dota 2 action. So that's it for all the news, and we haven't done this for a long time, but let's jump into the strategy section of the Dota Weekly Show.
Alright, this week's strategy I want to talk about Roshan Warding. Now, obviously when you're taking Roshan, that is a big part of the game and a big turning point of the game. So having wards down would kind of make sure you get the free Aegis, I suppose, and free gold for yourself. Now, unless you team wipe the enemy team, or unless you have creep equilibrium all the way in their base, pushing their base towers and whatnot, chances are the enemy teams will try to stop your Roshan attempt because this is so game turning. So as a support, what you can do is give your team a little bit of edge by providing sight through wards. So in this video, I will be doing warding in terms of letting you know exactly where you can ward as a support, and make your team's life a little bit easier. And let's go with that. Now obviously we're going to be doing the Radiant side first, and then we're going to go on the Dire side. Radiant side, when you're warding, you have the disadvantage. Of course, the Roshan is closer to the Dire side, so they have the more advantage. And in terms of that, your wards have to be deeper, and also depending how many towers they have up, your wards have to adjust for that. Now obviously generally when you take Roshan on the Sentinel side, or the Radiant, excuse me, generally this tower is no longer here, and if you could help it, these towers are no longer there as well. Obviously when you're trying to take down Roshan and this tower is still up, they could easily TP into here and really distract your Roshan. So for the sake of explanation, we're gonna assume at least this one is not up, because generally this tower is fairly easy to take down. So on the Radiant side, you're taking Roshan. Where's the Dire gonna come from? Well, they have 3 clear paths to come from. First, through this path and down here. Second, through this path and down this way. And lastly, of course, through the mid lane and swing around here. So your ward should really be in preparation of that path. Now you could say that, okay, well maybe I could place one ward here, and that's gonna sense the path here and coming from this way. I'm gonna just show you, if you place a ward to kind of, you know, cut your trying to beat and have one ward to ward both sides. I'm gonna show you warding here and how much that see, or more accurately how little that see. Generally this is probably not the place you want to ward on the Radiant side, and as my slow CM's getting there, you can see that. Now obviously you can go for the little bit more standard warding here as well. That's probably better if you're gonna be a little bit more defensive. I'll talk about these wardings in just a bit. This is kind of when you're winning and you want to secure yourself to Roshan.
Let's go.
So let's move Crystal Maiden away. Like you can see this, right? And you can see some of that. But imagine yourself, your team is right here, you're hitting down Roshan. This ward actually, I mean, you see them coming, but by the time you're here, you probably don't have enough time to retreat, especially when they have long range spells. So this is probably not the best ward. Again, this ward does see both paths, but it's probably not the best ward if you want to have a really safe Roshan.
Here I come.
These are the wards that you want to place instead. And of course, I should have got boots or whatever. And obviously this ward, this is probably the safest one you could place without putting yourself in danger, and same thing as here. For example, this ward you can actually even go down the path, wrap around behind this tree and place it here, and that's going to give you so much vision over this, and that's going to help you push the second tier tower as well. But if you just, for the sake of purpose of put, you know, getting a very safe Roshan, this ward is not bad. So between these two wards, you're going to see the, I guess, you know, 80%, that's when the Dire side is going to come from, these paths. And you're definitely going to see that. And of course, assuming this tower is down, you could drop your last remaining ward somewhere over here, and that's going to see the path coming this way. And for the most part, if you're ahead, and again, this is assuming that you're ahead, you can have a fairly decent time in terms of getting that Roshan fairly safely. Now, let's say you're not that ahead, right? You don't want to, you know, venture so deep into enemy territory. Well, where do you ward as an anti-Roshan ward? Like, let's say on the Radiant side, you don't want the enemy to get the Roshan. Some of the best wards you could drop is over here, or maybe over here. Notice I said I didn't say over here. Now, of course, this is a safer ward to drop because as a support, you could put it over here. You don't have to go down the river, which is somewhat dangerous. But the best ward is probably over here or over here. And the reason being so is if you drop a ward over here, what a Dire hero could do is really, they could be safe and they could hug around this corner and hug around this corner. If you do that, this ward will not detect it. So let me drop one over here right now. You can see that there is a patch of fog right here that is out of the ward vision. Whoops, excuse me. So this ward will not grant you that vision. Obviously, imagine these wards are not there, right? So a Dire hero, a team of Dire hero could slowly hug around and go through this path and do it. But if you drop your ward over here, that is going to be nullified. So these wards, depending how safe you feel, how ahead you guys were, this is definitely the more defensive ward, and these definitely are the more offensive ward. You know, this ward is really offensive. You know, you're really confident that you're winning by a bit, but these are kind of the middle of the road. That you feel like you're winning a bit, and then you're going to go for the safe Roshan. So for the Radiant side, you have to go fairly deep drop these offensive wards, but again, you're winning, so it's okay. Alright, like I mentioned earlier, the dire side is just simply easier. You have more tower coverage. You don't have to worry about, for example, if you have this tower up, then you don't have to, you know, worry about at least they coming from this side. So on the dire side, you automatically have the advantage being closer to it. You have a better escape path. You have multiple escape paths, to be honest. And well, if you're the dire, where do you expect the Radiant team is going to come from? They could come from this side, this path down the road, this path down the road, and you see that they meet up here. So generally, if you have warding over here, over here, or over here, you're generally safe seeing this spot. Of course, Radiant team can be sneaky and try to wrap around this way, but generally that's a very long path, and unless they're smoked up and whatnot, it's definitely not the best path to take, because, well, it's just long and it's hard to get there. So like I said, all you really want to do is have sight over this, and that's generally the most common way to do it. And of course, you could do the very standard warding like over here, and over here. Now the safest ward that you could put up, for example, if you're feeling a little bit defensive, you could put it up over here. And obviously you could put it from your side of the map. It's gonna see that necessary vision over here, and you're pretty much done in terms of protecting yourself from the Roshan. Now if you want to be a little bit more adventurous, if you want to go a little bit deeper in enemy territory, here's a couple wards you could drop. So first, you can drop this ward right here, and that's going to give you somewhat of a big vision in terms of seeing the path coming from this way, and also seeing when the enemy get down to about here. Like this is kind of what the wards see. And but generally, this is, well, I'll talk about it in a bit. Generally, when you get to here, enemy teams expect it, especially if they have wards up. If they see a lich over here or over here dropping a ward, they know what's up, right? They know you're warding. So your wards generally will get easily counter warded, of course, if you go very deep into the territory, especially in this kind of spot where, you know, there's always some vision going on. So sometimes we see a lot of Chinese teams, they ward in very obscure spots like these. And sometimes over here as well. If you ward over here, it grants you the rune vision, it grants you some sort of this vision. And real fast, we're gonna, you know, kind of go down the river and see what this ward gives us. Now this ward gives us quite a bit of things. A lot of times when the Radiant side wants to kind of go into the Roshan Jack, they can swing around like I mentioned. This ward covers that. You're gonna see your own vision over here. It sees this path down, and obviously it's this path down as well. And this ward, the beauty about this one is it's very, you know, unlikely to be countered, because, well, it's kind of out of nowhere and people don't generally expect that. And of course these are you know, generally the more common wards. You know, of course these are the most common ward spot, and these ward spot, again, very unlikely to be countered, and the vision it grants you is exactly what you need. The path down this way, the path down this way, and generally teams like to hide in these areas, you know, hide above a ledge, so if you don't have sufficient warding, you don't see them coming. Okay, so that's kind of the really aggressive warding that you could put up on the dire side, if you're on the dire party, and then you're Roshaning. Of course, again, the safest you could put up is over here. Now that's warding, that's great and dandy. What about counter warding, right? Let's say if you're on the dire side and you want to counter ward the Roshan. Well, if you know exactly where the Radiant side is warding, you can counter ward accordingly. So if you're going into a very deep Roshan, maybe you want to do a counter ward here, maybe you want to do a counter ward here, and maybe you want to drop a counter ward over here and check these ledges and make sure they don't have any wards. Same thing on the Radiant. If you're on the Radiant side and you want to counter ward the dire vision, so if you're on the Radiant, actually these are probably the two best spots you want to put your Sentry Ward. Your first Sentry Ward should go here. And the reason, not over here, but over here, the reason that you want to put it over here instead is because with one Sentry Ward you cover 3 areas. This area, and definitely this area, with price of 1 Sentry Ward, provided you have uphill vision, of course. Your second Sentry Ward should go somewhere over here. Again, this Sentry Ward will see this, and depending how far away the enemy places this ward, it could sort of see that as well. You could put it a little bit more to the north, especially if you already put one ward here. So that's kind of the counter warding for both party. Of course, for the dire party, you want to counter ward a little bit more deeper, depending how do you feel. Like if you're a little bit more ahead, then generally you don't have to counter ward so deep. If you're a little bit more behind and you expect wards to be here, then counter ward over there. So that's the counter warding and also warding for the Roshan area. Now, obviously, don't try to put a ward inside here. The game would not allow you to do so. And the Roshan has a fog. The fog is always up here, and no warding will change that. Don't try to put wards up in this cliff. It will not see deep into the Roshan area. So don't try to do any shenanigans. We have a fog. The game is designed to fog this area, and there's no wards that you could pierce into this area. So don't even try. And lastly, of course, a big part of Roshan engagement is smoke. So even if you're really ahead, like for example, if you're on the Radiant side, if you're really ahead, even if you have Observer down over here, do expect a smoke attempt. So it would be a good idea to probably put a pair of Sentry Ward maybe over here in this trees, and you're gonna see smoke team coming. So it's not something really commonly done, especially in a pub level game. But you generally see that a lot in pro level games, and having Sentry Ward in the Roshan area is so important. So keep that in mind if you're playing the support on both sides.
Alright, that's it for the strategy section of the Dota Weekly Show, and here comes the part of the show where I kind of just rant about stuff. And you guys know I do rant pretty hard. And the rant I want to do this week is about the lack of new Dota 2 casters. I'm not saying people don't want to cast, I'm saying people can't cast even if they want to cast. And the reason being so, I need to get my hair cut. The reason being so right now is it's currently impossible to get a pro Dota 2 replay. Yes, it is impossible. Currently, the only way for two pro teams to play against each other is to host a private game. And those private games replays aren't saved. Or they are saved, but Valves don't make them public. And I personally do believe that is a concern. Because 2 years ago, a certain someone just went on GhostGamer, could download a replay, talk for 40 minutes, upload it to YouTube, slap on a whole bunch of music on it, and you call it commentary. And that's a way for someone to start. Obviously, that was myself. That was really old school back. Oh my god, those commentaries are bad. What I'm trying to say is, back then, people, when they wanted to pick up the mic, they can. Now they cannot. Now, in order to actually do any casting, you have to be part of the tournament organizers' buddies list or whatever. You have to be part of the Join Dota to cast for the defense. You have to be part of the Dota commentaries to cast for the Premier League. You have to be part of, for Dota 2 replays to cast for Brawl. Like, you have to know people. And for someone that's starting new, you don't know anyone, and thus they cannot cast. Now, obviously, the argument against this is like, okay, well, we're still in beta, guys, Once Dota 2 gets free release or once public beta comes out, hopefully that will be fixed. And I genuinely believe that will be fixed by that time happens. However, unfortunately, those newer casters, they are already up against very established casters. Nebula, Toby, the guys from GhostGamer, they're already very well established. And it's hard enough for a new guy to come in, but the new guy to come into against a scene that's already so established that you have so many months that you're behind. You guys get what I'm saying? Because you come in here and you have to compete against Toby. You come in here, you have to compete against Nebula and then whoever else. It's hard. It's hard. I think that overall is a very discouraging to new casters. And for someone like myself that came from that route, I just picked up a mic and started talking. I kind of feel for the guys. And there's really nothing we can do about it. So that's kind of my big rant about that. So that's rant number one. Rant number two is on the Betakeys. You guys have been kind of PMing all day long about Betakeys. Don't PM me because I won't give you guys Betakeys because you PM me. Obviously, way back when I made a promise that I'll be giving out 3 Betakeys each and every week till the public release of beta. That promise is still good. That promise is still good. I don't know how many weeks. I think I skipped like 6 weeks or so of Betakey giving. So to make up for all those Betakeys in the past, and also for the fact that I didn't host a Dota Weekly Show forever, I'm going to be giving away 30 Betakeys. Yes, 30 Betakeys in this episode of Dota Weekly Show. Now, the problem with that is I currently only have like 10, 15-ish, and the other 10, 15-ish is on my other computer, which I don't have access to. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to put 5 Betakeys up on or put 5 names on the description box each and every day until I hit 30 names. And then those are the 30 Betakeys I'm giving out. So check your name from day to day if you're still looking for a Betakey. So that's a rant on the Betakey. And yep. Also lately, as I was ranting about the lack of Dota 2 content, if you guys are looking for Dota content in general, Nebula had a New Year resolution that he's making a commentary or a thing. Like each and every day he's posting something, kind of like what I did, for my Rush to 200 daily kind of posting. He's doing the same thing. He's saying that he's going to post all of 2012, 6 366 days of the year, he's gonna make a content each and every day. I don't know how long he's gonna last, but so far he's lasted 16 days. You know, we have 16 videos since the first, so you can check his daily videos out on DWS29.com. Also, DWS29.com's webmaster, You're a Noob, he's actually doing a couple of new series. Here's his YouTube link, and one of the new series is features me in it, and it's kind of like a dairy crafting thing where we talk about 10 to 15 minutes about various interesting ideas that you probably never thought of. So I think that's a pretty cool series. You could definitely check them out as well. And that's it from those guys. From me, now obviously I'm busy with school, I'm busy with the Premier League, but I still have content lined up. I have a top 5 show I'm going to be posting soon. Just kind of teaser, it's going to be a top 5 mid-solo of all time. 715 and I had a beautiful time talking about that, yelling at each other. I want to record a new Public Illumi series on Ember Spirit, because last time when you guys were watching that really hyped up 7-3 video, I was like, oh, Legion Commander disrespect, you know, it was really fun. And then I found new love in the Ember Spirit, because he's just so much fun to play, and I want to record a Public Illumi series nearby to kind of show you guys why he's so fun to play. What else? Yeah, and there's a couple of new Dota 1 replays that are being released on GoToGamer of the Chinese teams. So I'm going to commentate a couple as well, and then, you know, bring you guys some TPL commentary as well. So a lot of stuff lined up. My school just started back right now, for anyone that cares. So I'm going to be a busy fellow for the next 3 months or so, and I'm going to cry. And, okay, really, that's it. Yeah, really, that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of random and big wrap-up of the Dota Weekly Show. Hopefully we're going to get a little bit back more on schedule. And hope you guys enjoyed this show. And until next time, Luminous, signing out. See you guys. Are we good? We're good. Alright, Alright guys, today's January the 16th, 2012, and we are back. I'm Luminous, your host for the Dota Weekly, Bi-Weekly, Tri-Weekly Show, whatever this show is now called. I'm just a host for that, and we've been here. Hey guys, today's January 16th, 2012. I'm Luminous, your host for the Dota